So we're back in the chapters track, and we continue with PMI Bulgaria chapter. Here with us to speak about agile leadership are Mikhail Mikhalov, the president of the Bulgarian chapter, and Bujana Zahova, and also Anelia Chervenova. Guys, we are speaking here about special symbols in the chapter's logos, and each chapter is presenting his special symbol. Can you tell us something about your special symbol in your chapter logo? Can we hear each other, Michael?
I can hear you, yes.
Yes, I can hear you loud and clear. So as I don't know whether you get the beginning of my introduction, but I said that for each chapter that is presenting here today, we are speaking first about the special symbol in the chapter's logo. And what is your special symbol in your logo?
Oh, 1 second.
It's a shape, I think, of the map of Bulgaria, and
It is the shape
they're
of
like
area.
stars, the stars of the European Union.
Exactly,
Yep.
exactly. So we are showing the map of Bulgaria and also that we are part of the European Union uh, and ready to collaborate with all the chapters.
That's great. So we're just starting this panel discussion about agile leadership and how we can bring value with it and transform the way we work through this agile leadership. It's honor to have you all guys here today, and let us start with the basics. What are the basic building blocks towards driving an organization toward an agile culture?
Okay, maybe I can take this question. So actually, the 7 component model by the Agile Business Consortium provides insight to the building blocks of agile culture. But what I need to emphasize, what I want to emphasize here is that as with individual development, it will be impossible to change an organization that doesn't want to change. Okay, so this is the first prerequisite in order to go to transfer to the agile culture. So an organizational assessment will be a useful starting point to hold up a mirror to create awareness of the need for change. So this will also help in creating a common purpose, yeah, that every organization should have, like a vision and mission. So transition to agility, they need to be a role model and driven by the leaders of every different organization.
Great. And Bujana, you as the person that is responsible for volunteering, can you tell us how do we create the right environment where managers feel secure, teams collaborate, learn from each other? How can you develop such environment?
Hi, Theodore. Actually, during the unprecedented times, we are facing a lot of more collaboration, and we were having a lot more meetings virtually lately with our volunteers. Actually, we were forced to do so due to the fact that we could not meet in person, and our chapter, increased the meetings with the volunteering teams to enable smooth transition to the virtual reality. I think that this was really a good approach because people felt the engagement of our board. And actually, this year we were able to deliver twice as more projects as usual because we had the opportunity to deliver things in a more faster pace and engage a lot more people, because you're not restricted by the face-to-face meetings to arrange for like a meeting setup. For example, our chapter monthly meetings, they grew up from one per month to two, sometimes three per month, and enabling us to invite people from abroad chapters or worldwide leaders in the field. That was a bit, harder before, when you had to set up a meeting and invite somebody to fly over. And for the team meetings, even for this conference preparation, we had quite a lot more frequent, shorter meetings to enable the moving forward. Because after sitting in a whole day meetings at your desk for your regular job, then and you go and do something like for volunteering, you need to do it fast and have a little bit more fun. So that's why we decided to have a bit of shorter meetings, but more often ones. And we have given the freedom to the volunteers to decide if they want to meet or they want to chat in Viber only or do a Facebook group. And I think this was really serving us well. As you can see, we have increased enormously the speakers and the variety of tracks that we have on this conference today.
Yes, yes, that's interesting. And Bojana, again, how do you manage to filter all this information throughout all leaders in the organization, so that each of the team is infected by this mood?
I should be honest, we were facing some challenges in the beginning, because at some point we were bombarded by a lot of emails, a lot of virtual meetings, but throughout the way, I think we managed to adapt and reflect. And try to improve ourselves going forward. As you know, the change is always harder in the beginning. At some point, you stop and reflect and see how to improve. And we were trying to use different approaches to deliver the same results as in the past. And I think we managed to outperform even with the support of the board and with the increased number of volunteers. So that was another interesting fact, that in this online reality, we could have, we were having more participation from different volunteering. Before, we were having around 30, 40 to 50 volunteers. Now in the three projects that we are currently delivering, we were having up to 100 from different countries. Even it wasn't just Bulgaria. There were people that were delivering for us from Canada, for example, from Varna, and it was like a bit more kind of diverse environment that we worked this year.
Yes, yes, and that's for the team. What is the perspective from management view? Michael, can you tell us, as a president, what do you think makes a great agile leader?
Right. Thank you, Todor, for this great question. So actually, it's in terms of from the model perspective about agile leadership. Agile leadership encompasses things like change, insight, focus on people, but also focus on results. And very important model is or point is the ability for reflection. Yeah. So to capture the behavior requirements. So we all have a ability for agility, each of us. But one must also desire and strive for agility. So the desire point is very important. If you don't want to, if somebody don't want to change, regardless how much ability they have, it will not happen. So the ultimate is to find oneself in an environment that encourages and supports agile behavior. Yeah, we should lead by example. We cannot expect people to be agile if we're not agile ourselves. Yes, and being an effective agile leader is not only about being agile in one's own work, but also successfully nurturing the agility in the team, and supports this type of behavior, encourages this type of behavior.
Okay, you say, Michael, you say the desire. That's good, but if you have to name one thing that needs to change in order a traditional leader to become agile leader, what will be this thing?
Lovely question. Yeah, one thing. Yeah, what should this focus more? I think, yeah, in my opinion, if I had to identify only one thing, it would have to be the leader's ability to reflect on their own performance. To enable effective self-reflection, they should focus on cultivating an awareness of their strengths and limitations. Yes, and as well to nurture a drive to constantly improve. Yeah, we need to be self-reflective and see our weak points as well, not only our strong points, and reflect on them and change them.
Interesting. And Bojana, what do you think? How is agile leadership different from a traditional leadership? Do you see the difference between these two, and at what time a traditional leader becomes agile? How we can differentiate them?
I think that the agile leaders are focusing about the people, and they are more servant leaders. They don't focus that much on the process that should be followed and the results, but how the team can deliver it. So it's we more than I in agile, and we should be flexible and change the approach. If something is not working, we should be very much up to speed to change as we go, because we have results at different stages. Sometimes you go in a meeting, you see how the meeting is not creating the results you want it to be, so you have to be able to change the focus, to change the mood in the spirit in the meetings. It's the same in the team. Sometimes we should focus on who are our people, how they can work together, how we should build trust so we can enable the results that we foresee. We should work on enabling trust, being vulnerable, showing emotional intelligence, and including different perspectives. We
I
should,
s-
give the floor to every single one, and include all the different approaches, and be able to change when we see that something is not serving us well.
yes,
Yeah,
and
I love what Boyana is saying. If we allow me to add additionally to this, Todor,
sure, sure.
um, focusing on people is a great thing, and it's one of the most important factors of success in agile environment and agile leadership. Being a servant leader, and as well, additionally to that, an agile culture is not necessarily devoiding of structure. Yeah, we find structure in a well-articulated purpose, even KPIs in organizational process and practices. But furthermore, individual well-being and fulfillment is built into the nature of agile cultures through its strong focus on creating an happy, positive environment, rather than on one characterized by fear or stress or fatigue or burnout, as we may see in other environments which are not agile. So agile leaders are by nature very collaborative and empathetic and empowering, just as Buyana stated.
Yes. And Bojana, in your work as vice president for volunteering, do you think that agility can be taught? Do you think it can be the people can be teach how to be agile, or it's and how to be leaders actually, leaders, agile leaders, or it is in something that is in the genes?
I think everything can be taught and learned, but here in agile, it should be through example. It's not just you read the manifesto, you read a book on how to be agile, and that's how you become agile leader. You should test, feel, get reflections on the feedback you're getting, because being a leader at the PMI chapter, I'm getting constantly feedback from my volunteers, from my peers, from the sponsors, from the speakers, and of course there is sometimes very positive feedback, but sometimes they give you thought for reflection. And I'm usually taking it and discussing with the other peers, with some of the volunteers, how we can improve together, what shall be done. It is interesting when we do the conflict resolution together and trying to keep, the personal touch. Even if we sometimes have different opinions, we put people first and we are trying to understand before we proceed to action. And of course, sometimes we have some bad experience, but this is what I am saying to all the volunteers. All these, let's say, gaps that we are foreseeing this time will learn us how to overcome them for the future. And for example, even now, I think me and Mihail are very supporting agile and being flexible to jump in when we had like a rearrangement of the agenda. So for me, this is leading by example. When you can show that if something is, not as per plan, but you should always have a backup plan or another think out of the box and try to figure out how to resolve the problem and deliver value for your audience, for your peers, for the project managers, for your board. This is what I think makes the difference. It's not just teaching and reading, you should try to actually living it.
Yes, and this I absolutely agree with Boyana. I love what she says. She actually described the three essential elements that make up one's agility's DNA. Firstly, this is the visibility, the ability to be agile. Yeah, the ability to be agile, the desire to be agile, because this is not necessarily in the same picture all the time. And third is the demonstration of agile behavior, yeah, the behavior that we show. So while levels of ability may differ amongst individuals, the extent to which this ability is utilized is dependent on whether the individual is driven to be agile and whether the environment actively supports this, which is a fourth element that we are adding here, the environment. So one may therefore positively nurture a need to be agile, to provide opportunities for reflection or innate potential, and support the expression of that potential by modeling the desired behavior.
And Michael, you as a leader of the organization of the PMI Bulgaria chapter, it's interesting. If you find a leader who is not agile enough as the culture or the environment requires, how do you assist him? How do you address him?
Awesome question. Yeah, about the challenges. Of course, life is not beautiful always, and there is some people who have their characters and are reluctant, resistant to change sometimes, and that's natural. That's natural. But firstly, we cannot help someone who does not want to be helped. Yeah. So this is the first element is that of awareness and willingness to go in some direction. Um, there is one proverb I really love in English. It's about you can bring the horse to the river, but you cannot make him drink. And this is absolutely valid. We want people need to be helped. If, however, there is willingness and commitment to develop the most useful first step is to allow the opportunity for someone to reflect on their agility. When there is acknowledgement and acceptance on their side, we can then consider how to provide the support step by step required for the personal development. So it's not a science. It's not something that we say do this, do that, and do the next thing. Not a step by step approach. Not one size fits all. It's about the person himself and the situation they are. Another important element is knowledge, which can be tackled by educating the leaders on agility. What is it? What it is not? Why it is important, and etc. So I would go on a personal approach according to the person itself. But again, uh, first is desire, and then building up the abilities.
Yes, but if we agree that culture is leadership driven, is it then not true that if some leaders are not agility resistant, they have to go to quit, or they have to be taught how to be more agile?
Right, right. And the culture counts now, not only individual level, but we are going on the like group level, and this is a wonderful direction in this conversation. So if there is a significant number of agile resistant leaders, yeah, it is very unlikely that there will be an existing agile culture already. So it may be extremely difficult to develop one from scratch. But however, we have seen situations where a single leader with sufficient authority and acts as a change agent and drives the development of agility. And if we start with one, we can engage some more and may form a group and rise in this direction. So when the culture shifts, agile resistant individuals will start to feel the need dissonance in terms of organizational fit, and will likely feel the need to leave their own accord and their own comfort zone and the old habits, and maybe shift to the new direction. So it's about again desire, but also volume at some point in time.
Yes, and Bojana, what do you think about this? If some people are opposed to change, of course, it's normal. We people are human. We humans are born to habit. But still, if somebody is opposed to change, how can we address this in an organization that works with volunteers mostly?
Because I believe in the team spirit, I see that sometimes some of the volunteers are not willing to follow the team leads. And in the beginning, till they start to work as a group, there is always some people that are resisting on the speed of the things that are happening, or the way or the approach, because they are not used to this, and it's different than their working environment. So in the beginning, sometimes we are facing with these challenges. For people resistant or reluctant to support the group, there are different ways to approach such people. If you are patient enough and you engage them and make them feel, let's say, not afraid to do mistakes and learn in the go, they will be more likely to contribute to the cause. And at the end of the day, the different motivation is for the different people to join. Let's say the project that we are working on is different. So the leader should be addressing the different team members in a different way. It should not be one approach should fit all. So the leader should be also flexible and try to find a way how we can, structure the work, make it more productive in a different way. So I think our team leads, at least for this year, they were really different in the approach that they have worked towards the goal of the projects. And some of the team members, they were the same. And they were telling me, we just got used to the one way of working. Now we need to adapt. But sometimes you don't have the time to adapt, and they were struggling in the beginning, but their motivation was high enough to keep supporting with whatever they can, with different pace. And because we were giving them the freedom a bit to organize themselves, not pushing and enforcing processes, procedure that much, I think this kind of evolved in a different way to work with the different part of the team. And at the end of the day, it's still, we can see the results. People
Yeah.
are ad hoc doing some stuff in a different way, but still managing to work together. And we have volunteers that are, more used to the agile way of working. Some people that are more used with processes and procedure because the environment they work in is more like, let's say, water flow. But coming to, volunteer for PMI, they're exposed to different approaches and ways of working. And of course, some people they adapt very easily. Some people they need more time to adapt, and some people they decide it's for them too much of a challenge. And that's the beauty of the volunteering, because you can test a lot of things, and at some point you can even say it is too much at this point of time. Juggling with a lot of environmental issues or family issues or work related issues, so I can postpone and then rejoin the team, and or support just with a specific task where I feel comfortable with. And we are allowing this freedom to our volunteers, so that's how everybody can feel appreciated and contributed to the goal, no matter of the specific policies, procedures. We are taking care of the people to feel appreciated, and to feel their work efforts are giving results. Of course, sometimes we also need to improve in the giving back and appreciation and how we approach the different people, but together I think we are managing to improve over time and being more flexible and more agile. It doesn't happen for a day. We have also big struggles in the leadership team at some point, but I think with the time we started to work better and more, let's say, as a efficient group as in the beginning. So this change doesn't happen for a day or two. It takes time, it takes effort from all the parties to be able to deliver results at the end.
Great. And all this is about people. What about when environments come into place? For example, we're set in very tight and strange environment for the last 2 years. Given in mind the pandemic situation in what we all have to work. How do you think, how does this environment, when we cannot speak face to face, for example, when we cannot see the body language of the person that we can speak, how does this affect the leadership, the agile leadership approach?
Yeah. Maybe I can take this one. Well, transparency, openness, and communication play an important role in agile leadership. It needs to go hand in hand with the other important elements, such as creating a shared vision, psychological safety, and delegated leadership, autonomy, and a culture of learning and reflection. Well, as social beings, we're likely to feel somewhat curtailed in our communication without the benefit of physical interaction. Yeah, physical interaction is always much more effective and desired, and in terms of reading body language and creating connection, and yeah, having even if off-site topics that brings the relationship on different level and etc. But perhaps you could consider focus on visual cues via video feeds, or also ensuring free flow of feedback in all directions. So there is, of course, a lot of tools that help us to simulate physical environment, and we highly stimulate this to be done via putting the video on your polls, or using visuals to explain your ideas, and etc. So there is a lot of things that can be done. Other possible techniques could be like regular one-on-ones with colleagues that we can have purposely planned in order to make sure that there is connection between people, and there is a channel, a possibility for people to express some information on or feelings that are not appropriate in sharing in group calls and in group virtual meetings, for example. So regular communication, and what Bojana mentioned earlier, in order to fill this gap and to bridge this gap, actually, we changed the way we communicate from channel perspective, but we also increased the frequency. Yeah, we increased the frequency. In the past we were meeting like once per month. Now in the last month we are meeting every week. Yeah, with the team. So having this increased frequency helps to kind of bridge the gap of this of a lack of face-to-face communication. Yeah.
Yes, when you said frequency of meetings, can you name some other examples of tools and approaches that you've had for ensuring this agile leadership in your chapter?
Right. Right. Yes, sure. I mean, from tooling perspective, we have shifted a lot from let's say, before we were taking decisions like once in a month in a face-to-face meeting. Now we have introduced this instant communicators like Viber or WhatsApp, and they use extensively their functionality about voting and decision making. Right now, we don't need to wait for meetings. Yeah, we can do it ad hoc right now as they're needed. Or we skip the especially for this project. It's very kind of we can see in previous projects we have like this big composite project plans and all these status reports at least once per month, following these Excel sheets and forms and etc. Now we're doing much more agile and ad hoc way. We reduce the formality big time, yeah, in order to increase the agility and informality, because we focus on being effective and efficient, and to create an environment of positive atmosphere, and not sticking to formalities and documents all the time. Yeah, so this is something I can share at the moment.
Yeah,
And if I may
great.
also add to this, Todor, if you allow.
Yes, Anelia, yes, of course, go
Uh,
ahead.
I'd like to say, well, to add to this, for example, if I'm hosting a meeting in this environment, I'm now absolutely clear, now probably more than I was before, what's the purpose of the meeting, who need to be there. Because if I try to get an hour in your diary on Teams or Zoom, well, there is only 8 or 9 working hours in the day, and an awful lot of people are booking 1 hour slots. So it's kind of reducing the amount of bandwidth that you have. And I really want to be clear that if I invite you to something, what's the purpose? Why do I need you? Why am I interrupting you? Because that's what I am actually. I'm disrupting your flow. So why do I need you? What is that I need you to do in this meeting? And what is it that I need from you? What do you need from me to be able to take part part to it effectively? So I'm creating more, certainly more structured agendas. And as well as I'm also Moscowing those agendas to be absolutely clear. Yeah, so I think this is what has definitely preparing for a meeting, the time for preparing a meeting for me has increased in the virtual environment in respect to people's time.
I see. Anelia, I couldn't see your camera. Probably you are not, you didn't share your screen. You could share your screen as well. And last question, as the session is at its end already.
Now
Let us see. What do you think? What leadership characteristics and agility skills do leaders need to display the most during their work?
Todor, you may pick someone to answer your question.
Well,
not sure who is.
As soon as the session is at its end, I guess we will leave this to our audience to think about it, what leadership skills they can form, and we hope that they will find lots of tools and approaches here in this event, in this 3D event as well. So thank you very much, Mikhail, Bojana, and Anelia from PMI Bulgaria chapter. We continue with our program. Please come back here again to see how the program will continue. Thank you.
Thank you so much for coming.